Hello and welcome to 21 Days to Singing Success, the R.M. Evans Method to Vocal Mastery. My name is Joe Chanchuli and I am the founder of both the R.M. Evans Academy of Vocal Mastery and the 21 Days to Singing Success online course. Now, our training is unlike any other online and or in-person training offered today in that our teaching is truly rooted in the lineages of Manuel Garcia, Ladi Lehman, and Modesti. Now, maybe you haven't heard of these teaching masters, but these names are found in the educational books of university voice and opera programs across America. Yet very few, if any, teachers today have any direct experience learning from these lineages. Until now. Now, Roz M. Evans worked directly with John C. Wilcox, Ladi Lehman, Jack Metz, Nathaniel Stewart, and many other vocal masters. In participating in our online program, you are receiving extremely valuable insights and guidance toward the cultivation of your best voice. Now, everyone has the potential for singing success, but it's easy to become distracted and discouraged with the many opinions on voice training being taught, frankly, by individuals who haven't trained as singers themselves. Now, we at the R.M. Evans Academy of Vocal Mastery specialize in male voice training, vocal rehabilitation, and lineage preservation. Our training will not only guide you to vocal vibrancy, but it will equip you with the tools necessary to maintain your new voice for years to come. Welcome to 21 Days to Singing Success. Your journey to vocal mastery starts now. Okay, singers, let's jump into our lesson. So we are talking about our syllabus today. This is your welcome lesson. This is Joseph Chanchuli, the founder of the R.M. Evans Method to Voice Mastery and the 21 Days to Singing Success online course. So just a little about myself. I'll keep it brief. I do hold university degrees in concert piano and voice and opera, as well as a minor in dance performance. I danced professionally with the Louisville Ballet. I sang professionally with the Kentucky Opera and Opera Delaware, and I was the principal pianist to the Pennsylvania Ballet and full-time pianist with the Tulsa Ballet. So all in all, I have a unique background in performance, and it really does tie to my training in voice. And I mean that in the way that when I had finished my undergraduate degree, I had sang for the Metropolitan Opera and was extremely excited, singing some very big repertoire, La Fille du Régiment, and some other bigger arias. And they told me that you don't have enough petto, you don't have enough chest in the voice, and you can't maintain an operatic career with this technique. And it was just not just news to me, but my college teachers, my university teachers, were very surprised, and a number of other colleagues were very surprised. But there was one man who was not surprised, and that was my teacher, De Montes, the voice builder and vocal master, the lineage to voice builder of the Lehman, the Modesti, the Lamperti, and the Garcia lineages. And he had actually been the only one who had been telling me for weeks, maybe even months, that what a lovely mixed voice you have. And it used to drive me crazy singing. I would sing at the Victor Cafe in Philadelphia, and couldn't get past this idea that my voice is big. It's not small. It's big. So I did start post my undergraduate studies a private study with what ended up being a 10-plus year study with De Montes, in which I actually ended up apprenticing under him and documenting his information in the process. But when that was initiated, I was told I had to come completely off my voice and to pause any vocal engagements. Now, I was already performing with Opera Delaware at 21. I had won my first competition. I had advanced in the classical singer competition. I was very excited to be singing again after my voice had changed, and I finally found my way back to singing. Unfortunately, I had to stop again. And so I did not want to simply not perform. So I went back, came out of retirement from dance and began dancing more. And in addition, began to use my piano skills a little bit more, my accompaniment skills a little more, and then found myself working for the Louisville Ballet as a dancer, and then accompanying the Pennsylvania Ballet, and a number of other ballet companies in North America, and all the while studying 3 times a week for about 1 to 3 hours each lesson with Dan Montes, and documenting the lineages. So that's a bit about myself. We are actually going to now jump into our course overview, and the kind of the breakdown of our course, the course details. So unlike other courses, we have a combination of voice lessons and supplemental lessons. The voice lessons will be short 15-minute to 30-minute voice exercises meant to prepare the voice for repertoire. Now, that repertoire could be pop, rock, classical, any type of music. These exercises, we must remember, are functional exercises. They are exercises that have a specific function, and they use vowel and consonant combinations to try to encourage a certain quality in the voice. So those voice lessons, we will expect you to send us a video or audio, a recording, preferred video, of you performing the exercises, so we may analyze and give you feedback on how you can improve and carry those improvements into your repertoire. The supplemental lessons will be concepts that we will be discussing in the lessons, throughout the lessons, that are old world concepts that today are very, very misunderstood, if even understood at all. Concepts like appoggiare for men, portamenti, passaggio, breath coordination. We will discuss coup de cloche and campana. These are concepts that were very, very well known in the bel canto era of voice, but have somehow become lost in translation along the way. Over the years, from teacher to teacher, many teachers did not pass a lot of this information on directly to their students. They preferred the stand and sing, do as I tell you, not no questions asked type of teaching style. So a lot of this information just simply wasn't passed down correctly from teacher to student along the line of the lineage. So the course overview, general description, the R.M. Evans method, it is a method to voice cultivation that has come out of Roz M. Evans' voice studio. It's kind of an ode to Roz M. Evans, who was Dan Montes' teacher, his primary teacher. Roz M. Evans studied directly with Lottie Lehman. She also studied directly with Nathaniel Stewart, who was the MGM voice builder for Mario Lanza and all of the singers of the day when MGM was using professional singers in their productions. She also studied with John C. Wilcox, who is known as the teacher of teachers and a direct line of lineage to the Garcia lineage. Dan also studied with a predecessor to the Modesti lineage, Marilyn Cronin. Barbara Mathis, who I also had the privilege of working with, who was the predecessor to another offshoot of the Garcia lineage through John C. Wilcox. And he also worked with a lineaged voice builder of the Lamperti lineage. So Dan really held a great respect for Roz. She was a wonderful pianist and singer. So this is kind of the opportunity for me to give back to all the work that Roz did and passed on to Dan, and then now has passed on to me. The prerequisites to this course. Obviously, singers, it's encouraged that you have some level of voice training. However, you could start from the very, very beginning, or you could be an intermediate singer, or you could be an advanced professional singer performing regularly classical, pop, rock, any of these types of of genres, this technique will incredibly improve the longevity and the vibrancy of the voice. I think there's this thought that there's a classical technique because a classical technique must be for classical singers, but that wasn't always the case. It used to be that a classical technique is therapeutic, and it's therapeutic because it uses pure vowels, and pure vowels are therapeutic. And when utilized in voice exercises, they offer the voice a chance to reset and release at its most optimal level. And what this does is when you go to repertoire, if you happen to sing with a belt or with a technique that is not necessarily the most healthy, this technique gives you an opportunity to have a place to go to rehabilitate the voice in between your performances. But more on that later. Our course objectives: postural alignment, breath retraining, and resonant release. So unlike any voice teaching today, we seek to connect posture, resonant release, and the breath all together in an intimate connection, so that when you do move posture, whether you move the sternum forward, or you take a step forward, or you expand the rib cage, the sound will grow. The sound will be influenced by the posture and not necessarily by the musculature around the throat. This is not something necessarily new to the old teachers, but definitely to the teachers today. This is why Lottie Lehman believed that the voice needed 10 to 14 years to be properly developed for a lifelong career. Now, the course requirements, or really the course breakdown, you're going to have quizzes. You're going to have quizzes that will kind of follow each of the lessons. You're also going to have visual aids. You'll have a PowerPoint presentation you can go and look to, and you will have your final recording exams. So at the very, very end of your course, you will be expected to submit a final recording exam. Now, singers, this recording exam is meant for you to have the opportunity to hear where you were with your exercises throughout the lessons and where you have gone, or where you've come in the last 21 days or so. So the required books and references will be the 21 Days to Vocal Success Beginner Guide. If you are in the intermediate, you will be required to have the intermediate guide, and advanced guide. Now, these books are provided to you as a benefit of participating in the course. They are free of charge, and you will be referring to these books throughout the lessons. I like to strongly note that many people in my past have said, "Oh, I love the Lamberti books of exercises or the Melocchi books of exercises. I have all of them and I use them all the time." The books are important, yes, but it's not necessarily about the books, but it's about understanding when and how to use the exercises in the books, understanding that specific vowels cause the folds to or bring the folds to a closer connection. Certain consonants are more invasive because they are closer to the folds. And when you understand this interplay of vowel and consonant combination, then you can then see how ascending exercises, when these vowel and consonant combinations are paired with ascending exercises versus descending exercises, they can either challenge or release the voice. It's much more complicated when you get into voice building, and this is what a lot of those books were based on: voice building and not voice teaching. So our book gives you a foundation, and then the lessons reinforce that foundation. And then we will also be using the Vakai method. We request that you have the low and the medium. It doesn't matter if you can sing high. You will be working from the low because especially the male voice is built from the bottom up. I spent months singing baritone, even though I had been singing tenor for maybe 4 or 5 years, and the notes for baritone were too low for me. But it's more so about retraining the connection so that we can see where your voice really lies once the muscle is completely removed from the voice. So those are the 3 books. It's not extremely important that you have the Vakai right away. They are free online, and we will try to work something out that we can have it included in the course. But moving along with the teacher resource page, this is the breakdown of all the lineages. If you're interested in understanding what a lineaged voice builder is, we will talk about that in the course. But the Manwara Garcia lineage, just to take that for example, my teacher explained to me that a lineaged voice teacher is has learned the technique from within one generation of the original teacher. So here with Manuel Garcia, we have Garcia, we have John C. Wilcox, and then we have Roz, and then we have Dan. So Dan was within 1 to 2 lineages of the original voice builder, and it kind of preserves the integrity of the method. Roz, when she had won her apprenticeship, had to win a competition, and it was to be the apprentice to the teacher's teacher, John C. Wilcox. So the process to becoming a voice builder, just to give you a little sneak peek into what we'll talk about later, is actually very, very in depth. Voice builders do not simply go to a 4-year program in school and come out voice builders. There's a lot of voice coaches today that are teaching voice, and a lot of non-singers that are teaching voice and giving their 2 cents on what they think is, the best way to train the voice, and it's really irresponsible. Now, the way that it used to be, and this is why there were so few voice builders, you would go to a teacher and you would express interest in singing, and if you were accepted by the teacher, by the voice builder, you were taken into his home and you lived with him for around 10 years. You would have daily lessons. You would be taken to the opera house with the teacher. You would experience daily coaching sessions and language sessions. You were completely immersed in the opera world, and you emerged from your studio after 10 years having a rock solid voice that could sing into your 90s and still have the vibrancy of squealo leading body, of proper release of resonance through posture. And this was all due to your foundational training. Now, say you wanted to actually teach the voice. You didn't simply go out and have a career and start teaching voice. You would then, after you had your voice built, you would sit behind your teacher for 3 years watching him teach his students. And you would ask him questions, or her, and then you would watch him apply certain exercises based on what he was hearing. And then after that 3-year study, you would spend an additional 3 years in which you would sit behind you, or your teacher would sit behind you and watch you teach his or her students and see, are you applying the method correctly? So this was the proper way of creating a true voice builder. And this is why this information really is not around at all, because people just don't have the patience or the time today to go through this process. And there's so many opinions out there regarding what is the best way to sing, what is the best method. We guarantee you success, because these methodologies have created some of the greatest voices of the bel canto era, and these voices sang pop music of the time, they sang opera of the time, they sang folk songs of the time. This methodology is not only for classical singers. So if you're interested in the lineages, we have all the lineages that we represent here. If you have any questions, we have our email and contact information right on the very last page right here at vocalmastery1@gmail.com, or phone number 215-802-3238. We are extremely excited to jump into our first lesson and our first supplemental lesson. So if you are ready, let's begin.